Hey there, Screen Junkies. You are watching Honest Trailer Commentaries, the show where we talk about the other show to find out what we really thought about the least controversial movie of the year, The Justice League. I'm Spencer J. Gilbert. That's Joe Starr. That's Dan Merle. If you stick around to the end, you will see a fair amount of deleted scenes and jokes and stuff. I think we cut a bit out because you'll get the full Snyder cut, but this one actually exists, of our Justice League Honest Trailer. Guys, this movie exists.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. My review at the time was it's fine, whatever, leave me out of it. And I still feel like this is it reeks of what it was, which is the visions of two filmmakers and about 8 or 9 different executives based off of the analytics and performances of 3 other movies. I didn't think this was aggressively terrible. It was just a mess. In a different way that Suicide Squad and Batman v Superman were messes. They were messes on their own right. This was a different kind of mess.
Yeah, I don't think it was a mess in the sense that, I thought that Suicide Squad was, or Batman v Superman was in a lot of ways, where it didn't go overboard with the plot, that it didn't get so up its own butt and so concerned in the sheer amount of plot that they could throw on screen and the unnecessary blind alleys that the story would take you down. It just seemed shallow. Like it was the opposite. It was like there was nothing there. You just like kind of poke it and your finger goes right through it.
Yeah.
Like it was a hollow experience. It felt like and I actually do like the animated series and those team ups and stuff like that. It felt like a cartoon.
Right. And I mean, given the depth of what it had been building to and the kind of gravity and the weight that the previous movies had kind of told you to expect, this was sort of like, here's Cyborg and here's the Flash, here's Wonder Woman, and there's a guy and they fight
the alien.
And it's done.
Yep.
And it's like, okay, that's it?
It did feel a little bit, that simplicity did feel a little bit like the writer just sat down with his kid and the kid just pulled out whatever toys he happened to have near him and was like, Cyborg's looking at them in the woods, and then Steppenwolf is there, and then Superman is back.
Comes back and he punches him real hard, but then Superman fights his friends. It had that kind of action figures bang against each other feeling. And I think that is maybe an overcorrection to the last few movies, where it's like, okay, fine. They don't like the critics don't like this moody head scratching a labyrinth of a 3-hour-long movie. All right, this one's gonna be 2 hours long. It's gonna be in and out. They're all gonna be cracking jokes. Is that what you like?
Yeah, it was this like kind of, it's like this was supposed to be a 2-parter. You cut it down to 1. Then the studio says, and it has to be 2 hours. And then you have unfortunate personal life, real life things that happen with Zack Snyder. So then you bring in a second filmmaker on top of Zack Snyder who has an altogether different style than Zack Snyder.
And they're like,
so
you have to be done in a month.
I also think that there should be antitrust laws for directors. Like J.J. Abrams should not be allowed to do Star Trek and Star Wars.
Yeah.
Just like Joss Whedon should not
one.
be allowed to do the Avengers and Justice League. Leave something for someone else.
That is, it's weird because I guess he's not credited as the director, so a lot of people don't think of the fact that he directed the big team up movies for both DC and Marvel, but he directed at least a fair chunk of it. I mean, the only one you really know which one is which is Superman.
Yeah.
Fairly easy to tell which parts were pickups and which parts weren't.
Yeah.
But it is bizarre to think about, like, this one guy had his hands in both huge team-up movies.
I understand the impulse because it's like disaster strikes, and it's like, who knows how to pick this thing up?
I'm a doctor.
Midstream. Yeah. Is there a doctor on this plane? And like,
I'm a Joss Whedon.
Joss Whedon's literally the only doctor that's done this surgery before.
Yeah. What was interesting was, because I didn't watch it until we had to write the Honest trailer, and Batman v Superman and Suicide Squad both, I was just kind of like, what's happening? Like, but this one I just felt sort of sad and frustrated. Like, aw. Like, as much as I'll make fun of just people that like love those movies and stuff like that, like, they still didn't deserve this. Nobody deserved a DC team-up movie that was this.
Yeah.
It's a little sad watching it.
Yeah, just kind of
Yeah.
That was the
Fluttered
sound the
by.
movie made as it went in one ear and out the other, which the Justice League shouldn't do, as we discussed in our trailer, because
really
these
shouldn't.
truly are the greatest comic book heroes ever created.
Yeah.
Let's watch and see what we had to say about it.
Somewhere between the awful Suicide Squad and the excellent Wonder Woman, a new DC movie will get it sorted down the middle. But when the best comic book characters ever unite for a film that's just okay, you blew it again.
Pause for a second. There was a brief shot of J.K. Simmons there, and I was telling these guys earlier. Remember those pictures of J.K. Simmons like lifting the most weight ever? Like he had serious like HGH old man guns that I've like never seen before.
You really wanted to make that detective coat look good.
I guess we all just assumed that would be for Justice League, and Commissioner Gordon would rip the sleeves off of his trench coat.
And fight, well, at that time, Darkseid, I guess.
Yeah.
Himself.
So it's so bizarre. Well, he would have been a great Darkseid. Is either that got cut from the movie.
That is in the Snyder cut.
And there what in the Snyder cut involves Commissioner Gordon ripping his sleeves out, or he just was doing that just because he's like, you know what I'll do? Like I'm in between movies, like I'm gonna get jacked.
I mean, he's never out of shit. Have you seen Whiplash? Like he had the arms going. He had to throw chairs at people. That requires a lot of upper body strength.
Comic book movie.
And also, even if I was gonna be like the commissioner that's just wearing sweaters all the time, I feel like if I was on set with Cavill and Affleck, I'd be like, you know what, I gotta do something.
I gotta step it up. Yeah.
I gotta step it up a
all
little
right,
bit.
I'll go try your workout for a week. 4 a.m.
We also have a shot here of the guy like slow motion kicking over the display. Like that was a weird opening montage.
Well, it was from a different movie.
Yes,
it was from a completely different
yeah.
movie than the one we got. Of like they were really kind of trying to set the stage of like the world is falling apart and paralyzed by
this guy they don't like went away.
toxicity because a guy that they never were really sold on in the first place went away. That's the most afraid we've ever been in the millennia of the time the Mother Box has been on Earth. Regardless, let's carry on.
Oranges.
Zack Snyder does do great titles, though.
Good
Yes,
titles.
he does.
Because this seemed fairly obvious that this is a Snyder thing. And he does great titles.
Yep.
Watchmen, great title.
Yep.
How does this keep happening?
Props to John for working
Justice
through his
League.
allergies to this recording.
In the midst of a production beset by tragedy, Warner Brothers bravely forged ahead so executives could keep their bonuses, mixing
Find the
Zack
relevant
Snyder's
ScreenJunkies
trademark
news
glue
episode for our
with
discussion
the
of that.
optimism of Joss Whedon and the priorities of Brett Ratner's production company.
You're gorgeous.
That results in
Because they also skimpied up the whole all the Amazon's
we could have
armor and
thrown a
stuff like
bunch
that.
of clips of them in there because they're all
Suddenly their leggings kind of disappear and
the midriffs show up.
And who knows in that mess of studio notes which ones were Brett Ratner's? We'll certainly never know now. But
they removed that from home videos. Rat Pack apparently.
Really?
They're
It's
gonna
gone?
they're gonna pull that card. Yeah.
Interesting.
But
It seems like a note that would come from Rat Pack.
yeah, you're right. That might have been done in jest, but it does seem like there was a lot of they shot Wonder Woman and the Amazons a little differently than they did in Wonder Woman.
Yeah.
Different perspective.
There
I
was
guess.
definitely a Brett Rat like. I haven't seen that Wonder Woman, but they're all lesbos, right? They're all dress up sexier.
Nice, yeah.
Yeah,
Let's keep going.
That's my Brett Ratner.
Yeah.
Gorgeous.
that results in its own signature blend of orange. Lots
How many
and
jetpacks does
lots
Cyborg
of
have?
orange.
So
Man,
many
I wish they
jetpacks.
released
He has
the
a
Snyder
jetpack
Cut.
per joint.
Also, man, I wish the Snyder Cut wasn't a made-up fanboy pipe dream.
All right, pause.
Pause.
I'm sure that there's going to be some
There is
pushback.
there was he delivering no. It
No.
was so early in the process that the cut was what's known as an assembly cut, as we talked about with the Blade
It's
Runner
not a
editor.
movie. It's
It's
not,
literally everything they've shot in sequence,
yeah.
which is not like that's not a movie. They have to actually cut it down. Now maybe because there's such a clamor for it, maybe they'll bring them back or they'll release something and call it the Snyder Cut.
But it would require millions of dollars in sound and most likely visual effects work,
Right.
and color timing, editing. Probably, I'm sure it wasn't all edited together. No movie that it was
That's
at the
that
stage
far
when
from
he
its date, yeah.
left the project is done, and it would require an investment of millions of dollars. Which if this movie made $2 billion, yeah, sure, maybe. This movie didn't.
No.
It was outgrossed by, I think I'd counted it something like 13 movies worldwide. It was the lowest. It's not. No.
Now maybe it finds its audience like Blade Runner did, and we'll get 10 different Justice
the
League
final cut,
cuts
the
over
perfect
next
cut, the
20 years.
100%. Certainly, it's the final perfect
Yeah,
cut.
we merged it with Watchmen for the hell of it cut. Like, yeah,
Yeah.
The bored Harrison Ford voiceover cut.
the Justice League got together.
His name was Aquaman. Talk to the ocean, and then talk to the fish. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's not how mother
Snyder
boxes
cut.
work.
Even at its most like technical, like he delivered a cut. Long story short, it wasn't a movie. It's not a film that has been edited.
It's not a finished version of the movie. It's on a shelf somewhere that you could do. I think because of the Batman v Superman thing, I think people assume that there was an alternate cut of every movie, just on a shelf. So it's like, no, that ultimate cut was like that was a done, finished thing that he presented to Warner Brothers.
Well, and then
they're like,
Suicide Squad like fueled it too with like, oh, they took Ayer's cut and they gave it to the trailer company and yeah. There's so many cuts in the Warner vaults. So many unused cuts.
That'd be interesting.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Also, man, I wish the Snyder Cut wasn't a made-up fanboy pipe dream. Witness a film that looks like it's being rendered right before your eyes, where this CGI villain steals these CGI boxes from their CGI hiding places, uniting these CGI heroes in a big CGI fight on a CGI battlefield until the CGI hero merges with this CGI box, while the CGI villain gets punched in the mouth by the hero with a mouth made out of CGI.
Yes, ma'am.
Ugh, that just looks wrong. Meet the Justice League, a bunch of sad losers.
I want to be left alone. If you stay up here brooding and processing, well, I wouldn't count on the tribes of men.
I need friends.
Who occasionally make jokes now.
Dostoevsky.
There's Wonder
that
Woman, the
Really?
three-dimensional hero.
I think that one
turned into a
annoyed
girl
me.
hung up on her ex.
Pause. That joke I think annoyed me more than any other joke.
Really?
It seemed very lazy.
Yeah, but like that seemed like something that the
Flash
Flash
would
would
say,
have
yeah.
said. This Flash, I know he's divisive. I thought he was good. I liked the fact that he was different from the rest of them, who were all like, "Ugh."
No, that was
the burden of this rests heavily on my shoulders. Like
I liked Ezra Miller and I liked his charisma, but I felt like his character was written to be just like, wait a minute, big joke. Like it's like some kind of bat cave. I'm like, yeah, okay, yeah, I get it. And then the Dostoevsky thing was just like, that's the best. Oh, what's a word that sounds like Russian? Dostoevsky. It's like
it's an author's name.
He just like every joke was sold to 17, which I'm sure was probably a Joss Whedon note. I'm not gonna fault Ezra Miller, but it was like Joss Whedon's like, you got to hit these punchlines, Ezra. You got to just punch the hell out of them, and it just every one of his jokes for me was like
seem like
so far.
they
over
were
the top.
setting up a brunch tag, like because they had like two brunch jokes, and then that they were gonna pay it off like the shawarma thing, where they're all getting brunch at the end. He's like, "What's the deal with brunch?" But that's probably one Avengers comparison too far.
I actually wondered, and this is one of those things where I was like, oh, maybe this got lost in the cut shuffle. When they first introduced Barry and he's going on about brunch, not understanding people, I was like, are they going to do sort of he's a bit like on the social spectrum or something like that? Which I was like, I
thought he was.
But then it seemed like they abandoned it.
But
And
then
he was just a
he
joke
does
machine.
just kind of
Because I was like, oh wow, they're like really making like this big choice with Barry Allen, and then he was just like Dostoevsky, Batcave, huh? And,
Well, maybe they'll address it in Flashpoint.
Dostoevsky.
My
Here's
man.
Wonder Woman, the three-dimensional hero turned into girl hung up on her ex.
I lost someone I loved.
I once knew a man who would have loved to fly it. When it's your
breakups
fault.
are hard, man.
It's been 100 years though.
Bro
Chris
Snyder,
Pine, though.
king of the broshin.
My man.
Cyborg,
My man.
who's there.
Booyah.
Spider-Man, who in this movie goes by the Flash. Superman, and God, that mouth is so distracting. Poor Henry Cavill worked out for months for this role, but all I can look at is weird fake baby mouth. They really couldn't just shave his mustache, or grow a beard, or, delay the movie? And of course, the Batman. He may not be that tough. Or that smart.
So your genius move is dying.
Or that careful with his secret identity.
Dressed like a bat. You're out of your mind, Bruce Wayne.
So many
We
people know
both
what
first
they
and
did.
last name.
As a bat signal, that's your. Oh, sorry. That's your
I mean, he's at the
signal.
end of his career. He doesn't care
But-
anymore.
Wait, there's no but? That's a shame. He was the best part of the last one.
Yeah, hang on. Roll that.
that's
Can we
true.
just roll that back? Roll that back to that Aquaman thing, and let's just count.
The number of
He
villagers.
just says, "Dressed like a bat, you're out of your mind, Bruce Wayne." And I just want to count. Keep going. keep going.
and careful with his secret identity.
Wait, pause. You're out of your mind, Batman, aka Bruce Wayne. Like, unless I guess they're cut off from the fish, but are they cut off from the internet? Are they cut off from Twitter?
No, I mean
somebody is tweeting.
That's big news.
They at least have Spotify, because at one point they're just cranking White Stripes in that
Right.
weird little pub.
Well, yeah, that's the thing about the. I can't get into this, but it's just like the fact that the mother boxes were hidden and no one had ever talked about them for millennia, except the carvings on the side of this like grog house in the middle of
promise you that was a
Iceland.
reshoot. I promise. I think they've gone back and proven.
Why
that,
were they
like, that
drawn
was
in
a
the
reshoot.
bar? Did Aquaman just get drunk and be like, here's some things I thought I sort of know about?
Because
once?
this movie was so radically, they changed the villain. I mean, this movie was
Yeah.
so radically restructured. You could tell they're like, we've got to get to Steppenwolf somehow, and it's literally just like a guy blows up and leaves an impression of boxes on a thing, and then Bruce Wayne sees drawings of boxes. It's all completely coincidental. It just.
I like how
they had to completely radically redo the movie.
the mother boxes. One was buried in a fortress in Atlantis underwater, and one was buried at the temple of the hidden Amazon's island, and the humans buried it in the dirt. You just see they dump it in a hole that's like a foot deep and just like pat a little bit of dirt over it. Like,
The Jumanji game was buried better than
like, don't tell the Atlanteans and the Amazons about this. Like, cool.
My
Great.
favorite thing was Bruce spends so much at the beginning of the movie like, what is the mystery of these boxes? I'm missing something. I got to put all this together. What could be in the boxes? What are the boxes? What's in the box? And then like
How did we not make out what's in the box?
Right? Oh, what have we done? But then he finally, after like 30 minutes, checks in with Diana and he's like, I think it's about these boxes. And she's like, yes, it is. Here is all the information about the boxes that you need to know. You have my phone number. Why didn't you call me about the boxes?
I think just when he's speculating, he's like, "What's in these boxes, Alfred? Power, money. Money. Like what? How much money do you think is in there? Like they're ancient boxes. Like what kind of money?
They're doubloons.
Do you think they're being invaded by Jack Sparrow? Like money?
There's treasure in these boxes.
You think there's money?
That'd be amazing.
Paper
Steppenwolf
money?
was like an intergalactic goonie looking for gold in those.
Like of everything you could think would be in the boxes, like secrets.
Yeah, Luthor.
Secrets.
Lex Luthor's
maybe?
really after like a couple 100,000 in bonds.
Like of
They
everything
might be
that Lex
alien
Luthor.
bonds, though, like worth much more.
Of everything that Lex Luthor would apparently be taking notes on that weren't relevant to anything he was doing, why would
A little extra cash, you know? You don't get to be a billionaire by frittering away your fortune. You get it by increasing. You find value where you can get it.
money?
Let's keep going.
You're out of your mind, Bruce Wayne.
Bruce Wayne.
You're the Batman. As a bat signal, that's your.
Oh, these guys aren't recruited yet. He could just run around and tell everyone.
But, wait, there's no but? That's a shame. He was the best part of the last one.
He's so done.
Prepare for the arrival of
guy.
Steppenwolf, DC's scariest horn-helmeted minor god villain with the giant bladed weapon since the movie right before this one. He's got a generic look, a generic motivation,
He lived only to conquer.
and super generic dialogue.
Find the last one. Its power will cleanse this world. You're all too weak to see the truth. I am the end of worlds.
But no
I am
character since
Megatron.
Buster Bluth has ever been this much of a mother
So
lover.
glad we got this in.
I know, Mother. Praise to the Mother. I see, Mother.
What the hell is that?
These are my words, Mother. From Army.
How is it possibly
I love that clip so much.
Mother.
These are my words, mother, from Army.
From the first time I saw this movie, starting about halfway through the first time I saw Justice League, every time Steppenwolf talked and said mother, I just heard Mother. He was like, I'm leaving, Mother. I just heard Tony Hale in my mind. It's just how good he is, I think. I just heard
But the
Mother.
thing is that the mother boxes, right? First of all, why is he called the mother? Remind me.
That is a comic book reference. The mother box. They're called mother boxes in the
Sure.
comic book. They have these thing called boom tubes, and it is related to Darkseid directly. Which again, this
But
is
are the boxes his mother?
no. It's like
They create his planet, right? If he gathers the 3, Dragon Balls or whatever, and
Yeah.
brings, and then he makes the wish, and then the Earth turns into his planet,
Yes.
which was the exact plot of Man of Steel?
Yes.
With the world engine, turning it into...
Yes.
Yeah.
This was the change
Planet?
engine.
This was the change machine.
Excuse me.
Yeah.
Excuse me. How dare I?
Change Machines is also my non-IP Transformers script.
Robots half disguised.
I am Optimum Prime.
It's me, tremendous car. I don't remember exactly what the mother boxes do, but one issue is
It's like a
new-
sentient intelligence in the
Yeah.
comics. You speak to it like, mother, can you do this? And mother, it's like a sentient. And
Yeah,
this,
they're like
it's
computers.
just- yeah.
But it just
one
would have
thing-
made sense if he was talking to Darkseid this whole time, because the
Yes.
boxes just seem like the tool to accomplish what he wants to do for his boss.
Right. Who's, again, this
Who we
was
don't bring
supposed
up
to be
now.
a setup for Darkseid,
Yeah.
and
Right.
he's name dropped, but when this went from 2 parts to 1
Yeah.
part, that it just became...
my thing is like mother boxes and boom tubes and Darkseid and and New Gods and Old God. Like this is all like peak crazy Jack Kirby. So like this is stuff that would feel at home in Thor Ragnarok, which is also like peak crazy Kirby Thor, and it just doesn't work. Like
In a grounded
grounded,
universe.
yeah. I can't call this movie grimdark anymore like the other ones, but it's such a big jump to go from like BVS to this would be wacky in Thor Ragnarok.
I mean, it can be done. It's just that it's just like literally the way that it's introduced in this movie is the first scene. Again, fairly obviously a reshoot. The first scene of Batman just going like, Alfred, what's these? Oh, it's those evil boxes we've been tracking. I guess
seeing a lot
it's
of
an alien
aliens."
invasion anyway. We got to get a team together. I remember watching it like, whoa, what? What?
The criminal who he was busting is like, who he doesn't bust it after that opening scene is like, I'll bet it's because Superman's gone, isn't it? Everything's been different since Superman left.
the best part is like the camera's leaving and he just keeps talking. Hey, it's a
Batman! Like, he wouldn't run for his life after getting caught by Batman and then seeing an alien demon fight him. He would have just stuck around and be like, I think this is happening because Superman's gone. Don't you, Batman?
Like 20 minutes later, he's like, I wish we had some kind of league to. Everybody's gone. I'm just on this roof by myself.
Just tied up, helpless on a roof by
He
myself.
wasn't even tied up.
No, he's just
He was just there, like,
Hey!
I bet this is because Superman's not around anymore.
I use you for bait, so I'm gonna let you go.
Okay, he's still a robber.
Yeah.
Batman.
That man should go to jail.
Yet there's no human being sees how the rest of that night plays out after he's been tied up by Batman and used as bait for a killer alien.
He walks into a bar. He's like, "You are not gonna believe what happened to me."
Keep going.
Army.
How is it possible they ripped off everything from the Avengers except the good villain? Come on, Joss. It's not stealing if you do it from yourself.
We've stolen that
Joke we stole from ourselves in
It's
Guardians of the
ironic
Galaxy.
I
Of
made
Batman v Superman. Check out a sequel that says, whoops, never mind, pretending Batman knew Clark Kent for more than 15 minutes.
The team needs Clark.
Pause. Can we just pause that real quick? Again, Bruce Wayne met Clark Kent, and there's really no there's unambiguously. We saw them meet for the first time at a cocktail party, and they
Almost came to blows.
Almost came to blows, and then the next time that they saw each other was when Batman was trying to kill him, and then Superman died.
Right.
But Batman again in this movie is waxing as if like this team needs Clark. Like, okay, if you want to wax philosophical about Superman as if you didn't try to kill him until 5 minutes before he died, fine. But there's no ground for Bruce Wayne to be like, we need Clark. Like, you didn't know Clark.
He's doing a lot of extrapolation from that one magical night they spent together where they said Martha, and he realized that this was an alien who had a mom with a name, and that meant like he just made he's the world's greatest detective, Dan. So he detected from that moment that Superman and his alter ego Clark Kent was exactly what they needed.
Comic book Bruce Wayne would indeed have said that this team needs Clark and we need to bring Superman back. But this universe's Bruce Wayne had really no.
Yeah.
He wasn't even really friends
There
with
were
the guy.
reasons you could have given. He could have been like, I really screwed up and we need that guy. And that's also why I'm putting together this whole league and all this. And like, I realize that I'm a crazy bat murder guy and we need.
Or give Amy
Not
Adams
me.
something to do, where like he
Yeah.
goes to visit her and she tells him how some story about Clark that's not terrible, and he and that changes his motivation a little
Well,
bit.
and he's like high-roading Wonder Woman. I was just like, oh, did Steve Trevor tell you that? Well, stop being such a wimp and come out into the light. I'm like, I mean, you didn't kill Superman, but you didn't help.
Yeah,
it didn't help that you
not kill
were.
Superman.
After that, I thought that they threw in a scene where he was like, I was trying to provoke you into being like our leader, but it was kind of a half a story thread.
Yeah, it just smacks of just like not really thinking through.
No, it smacks of like the Avengers had a part where they're all fighting each other, so it seems like they're not going to come together.
Yes.
So we need that part.
Yeah. There's also a sort of an interesting like, because I feel like Wonder Woman, after her movie came out, kind of dethroned, not completely dethroned, but made Batman a lot less bulletproof as the only important DC character.
Right.
And this is a movie that clearly like wasn't sure how to course correct that, where it's like, you guys better listen to Batman, and like as an audience member, you're like, no, she's pretty great. Like
she's way stronger. She seems a lot smarter. She's a nicer person.
Yeah, remember when she got out of that
Batman's
trench?
just getting his ass kicked and like throwing his money around like Dan Blitzerian or something. Thinking, like, I'm still cool, right, guys? I'm still cool.
Oh, it hurt.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
Whatever.
all right, let's finish this up.
The team needs Clark.
Pretending the world didn't hate Superman before he died.
So much bitterness. Of course, I think it's all because he's gone.
Well, there's bitterness because he was there
that
too.
bizarre Flash nightmare sequence never happened.
Dostoevsky.
I mean, that was clearly meant for when this movie was going to be a two-parter, right? So where the Avengers felt like the end of the beginning for the MCU, experience DC's big team-up movie that just kind of feels like the end, where they emptied out their Easter egg cupboard, united all their biggest superheroes, and tried everything they could to make it look like they still cared.
You know you can't do this.
Rewind just a little bit because
Batman's suit is jeggings.
Batman's suit is jeggings with the muscles built in. Clearly, somebody didn't want to do the Cavill J.K. Simmons diet. They're like, you know what? Just build it into my Under Armour. Like, I don't need to have my shirt off in this scene. Those are that's a muscle shirt.
It is, and we saw him lifting tires in the last one.
Yeah, the last one he was doing the
ripped.
full convict conditioning.
And then he went through the whole after the movie and during the movie, and
I think
like, I'm not flipping any more tires.
Like reshoots. Like, oh god, like no, I'm not eating steamed chicken again.
If you're not going to support what is it, Gangland? What was that movie?
Oh yeah,
his
wasn't after
mob movie after Batman v Superman. Whatever.
That one.
Gangland Express. Let's just call it Gangland Express. If you're not going to support Gangland Express, then I'm not working out.
Yep. There you go. That's
sure, there's a name. I don't remember it.
Cared.
You know you can't do this forever.
I can barely do it now.
It's a shame, too. They were just starting to take some real steps toward heroism.
Save one.
What?
Save one person.
Okay, baby steps. Starring a wad of tinfoil scrunched around a laser pointer. Jason
my
Moana,
first impression was the right one.
Dark Night Owl. The DCEU Hunger Games champion.
Comes out.
Super Side-Eye. The voice of Warner Brothers.
We might not have thought this through.
Deathpool. Deadstroke. Smashed Mouth.
Hey now.
Spider car, does whatever a spider car does.
We really threw a lot of
Dyson,
Batman vehicles
when will you learn?
on the screen this.
Mike Pence.
Mother.
Speeder Parker. And they recast Luther? Yay!
Care for a glass of Goudet Diamant?
Aww. And not starring. Trailer shots and scenes that weren't in the final movie.
Tells you how much they changed.
Aquaman consumed by water.
That was a cool shot.
Cyborg as a human in a Letterman jacket. The I didn't think you were real scene.
Didn't think you were real. I'm real and it's useful.
Cyborg fighting a tank and talking to a cop.
You should probably
That's obviously from the
Flash
Superman
fighting a
scene.
parademon. Cyborg as a human playing football. The original blue color palette end sequence. Bruce looking at holographic Superman.
They probably sent
Barry
the army
breaking
after
glass.
Superman.
Alfred
And then
talking
Joss
to a
like,
mysterious
you can't have
visitor.
Superman killing soldiers.
And Lois and Clark discussing their engagement.
I'll take that as a yes.
See, the mouth is real
What?
in that one.
Yeah.
Warner Brothers presents Joss Whedon, Zack Snyder's Justice League.
Continuation of our
Part
BVS
1
overly
of
long title.
1.
Yes.
So, why does everyone in
It's
this
just a
movie
weird-
have super
weird
smelling?
Fear. I can smell it.
The demons must have got the scent of the mother box.
The scent is on you.
You could smell a story.
You recognize that smell?
You smell good.
Did I not before?
Yeah, weird, right?
Yeah. Yeah. My favorite Superman joke that didn't make it in was that scene where he comes back to life and then Cyborg. I can't! Dr. Strange loves himself into attacking him. It's my arm! I can't control it! really? That's the best motivation. I guess on short notice. But my favorite Superman joke that didn't make it in was like, not only did he, in the course of fighting with Zod, destroy Metropolis, in the course of that scene, he was destroying the memorial to the people who died in the destruction of Metropolis that he was a party
was already
to.
Destroyed too.
And the statue is just like, he will not let these poor people.
No, just not let them rest.
Just
Let
no
them live.
rest.
Yeah.
For those poor denizens of Metropolis.
Well, let's see what else was left on the cutting room floor in these deleted scenes.
Starring Black Mirror, Cyborg, Existence is Futile, The Shape of Hotter, Vinny Chase, Beth Phoning It In, Lucy Lawful, Downton Krabby, Born to Be Mild,
Steppenwolf,
Better Than
the
Ezra.
band. Ezra Miller.
He comes in the winter when the people are hungry. He brings fish.
Aquaman? Brings them fish? You murderer! So, how exactly is Clark Kent going to explain how he's back at work to the Daily Planet? I mean, he was buried publicly in a grave with the name Clark Kent on it.
Yeah, I don't get that.
No problem.
Say Martha.
Yeah, that gets you out of a jam, you know. Why not try it again?
Good old Martha? I mean, why didn't Batman just try? Look, it worked last time.
It did. That was the thing that snapped Batman out of it.
I'm amazed Whedon didn't throw that in as like a heh.
Yeah.
How much do you want to bet that at some draft of the script,
They
when
addressed
that
the
moment
Martha
happened, that someone tossed around the idea that Batman would say to Superman, Martha?
Yeah, or
it's like poetry. It rhymes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
like
It would have been great, and you could have had like the Flash take the air out of it, be like, well, so they have the same names. Like, who cares?
Exactly.
What does that make a difference?
Would have been
Oh well, what could have been? Snyder cut.
Snyder
Lord and Miller's cut of Snyder's cut.
Of the original non-Rogue One scenes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Here we
look, we give it a hard time. It wasn't a terrible movie. It's just you got to have high expectations when you're doing a massive superhero franchise team up. There's other things like it out there to compare it to that this just doesn't hit home. It's fine. I'll watch it if it's on cable, but it's like it's not like a thing I need to go out and seek out again.
No. Whatever.
Yeah,
it's
whatever.
fine. Leave me out of it.
Whatever. It's fine. Leave us out of it. But please leave us in your life when you come back next week, where we will be discussing some prestigious,
very prestigious
films.
company. Yes.
Oh yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Is that next week? Wait.
I have no idea. No.
Is it not?
Is it?
Yeah, it is.
Oh, okay.
Well, what else? Yeah, it's
I don't know.
I don't know.
anymore.
This is what happens when we actually get a little ahead.
When we get a little bit ahead of schedule, I have no idea what order it's in. I think it'll be a golden opportunity to see some of your favorites.
I think so.
Yeah.
If it is indeed what I think it is, which I think it is, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, I am also pretty sure that I know what it is, and hopefully when we present what it is, we don't say the wrong thing.
Yeah, we might actually accidentally be presenting the wrong film here, which would be really embarrassing.
That would be very embarrassing. I hope we don't
Absolutely.
do
Hopefully it's not someone else's honest trailer.
that. Yeah.
Wink. All right, kids. See you next week.